Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your service. How are you all? I hope you're doing very well. I hope you're all doing exceptionally well, because this is turbulent times, folks, turbulent times. I'm doing a couple of videos tonight. This one right now wasn't what I intended, but because of the heightened awareness of coronavirus or COVID-19 or whatever fancy name you want to come up with, the plague. The news today is it's getting far worse. Now in the UK, I mean I can only speak really for the UK, but we had 39 cases confirmed positive with coronavirus yesterday, and over the course of today, in fact by midday today, that zoomed up to 51. Now sources are saying that it's going to go exponential after that, I mean, as you would expect it to do, and they're saying that chances are at least 1 in 5 of the workforce are going to be unable to work because they're going to be ill with coronavirus. Now this is getting a little bit hairy, I'll be honest. I mean, I know I've said before about this in my previous virus updates, that it's not that bad, says the guy who hasn't actually got it, but yet. But for most people, the symptoms will be mild flu-like symptoms, so not even that bad, and most people will shrug it off. But of course, if you've got an underlying condition, a respiratory problem, you're very young, you're very old, or you've got these other complaints, yes, that's going to land you in a bit of serious trouble, and it could then obviously kill you, which it's doing with people. But of course, it's a new strain, it's a new thing. They haven't got tabs on it yet. They don't know where it's going. They don't know how it's evolving. They're only just getting to grips on how it's being spread around, mainly by contact with surfaces which have been touched by someone infected with it, obviously airborne as well. So catch that sneeze, catch that cough, wash your hands until you've only got nothing but stumps left. In work today, we've got hand sanitizers everywhere. Now, it's so drilled into your mind now. I've washed and gelled my hands at least 60, maybe 70 times today. Isn't that in itself going to cause a problem at some point? Because, everything in moderation. So if you go OTT with the healthcare, it's going to fucking kill you in the end. But, Boris Johnson, boo, 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 boo. The UK fucking Donald Trump hosted a meeting of the Cobra Committee. It always sounds spectacular, well, spectacularly bad when the UK government has to have a Cobra meeting, because it normally means something severely drastic, like terrorism, usually. And it's obviously, governments and nationwide policies and procedures are going to be put into place. What are we going to do? What are our, contingency plans? So, whilst more people being, diagnosed, being positive with coronavirus, they were having this meeting, and then sort of midday or mid-morning they came out with some of their plan. Not all of it though, they kept a lot of it back. I know they kept a lot of it back, but the idea was, at the moment, even though we've touched on pandemic, a pandemic, of course, as I'm not sitting here, teaching you to suck eggs, because I'm sure you know what these things are. When an outbreak has now left its source country and is now, people who weren't part of that initial outbreak are now getting it in other countries around the world all at once with no obvious connection. That's known as a pandemic. And of course, pandemonium. People think, a little bit too apt, don't you think? A rabid dog, and a rabid zombie mutant dog, as it happens. So people begin to panic, and obviously things escalate. So people start panic buying, they start stocking up their shelves, their bunkers. My bunker's already stocked with pot noodles and whiskey. What more would I possibly need? Oh, and lots of movies, masks and music. There's no room for the rest of the family in there. It's just going to be for me. My fortress. Mine alone. And the dog can come in as well. That's it. And any fit young blondes. No. but there's a queue waiting to join. The Kilted Safety Zone. But yeah, this is now getting scary because the government's now saying, right, it's only a matter of time now. We definitely expect it to get worse. 1 in 5, and that's the best possible option. 1 in 5 of the workforce will be incapacitated. So you're going to cut back on the police and security forces. They've said this. Only for absolute emergencies will the police be responding, because this is in effect from when, if they're losing manpower or woman power, person power, let's keep things politically correct, then obviously they can't respond to everything. I mean, that kind of does make sense. Then they start bringing in the army. Well, yeah, okay, yes, that's obviously going to happen. But, you know, in this country we've had so many weather-related emergencies, non-stop flooding, and like last year, in all the floods last year, the army was frequently drafted in to help. We had fires on the moors, for 2 years running we've had massive fires, and the army and the air force were brought in to do safety evacuations, helicopter evacuations, water drops. So yeah, you bring them in times like that. Funny enough, in all the floods we've had in the last few weeks, the army personnel have not been brought in. Have they been on standby waiting for this? Now, I am not going to sit here and start, preaching conspiracy theories or scaremongering. I don't need to, because you've got brains between your ears, and you can see how these things develop. Is that another rabid dog approaching? Approaching from the southwest, Everyone's had their tea, and she's on a recon mission. There must be crumbs everywhere, and she'll find them. She'll sweep it all up. But can you hear her drinking water now? I'm trying to make, a serious broadcast here, and you've got interruptions like this going on. Plus, there's a Liverpool game in the FA Cup. They're playing Chelsea in the other room. Well, I don't mean they're playing in the other room. This is a big house, but it ain't that fucking big, So you might hear screams from the fellow Red supporters in this house when things go exciting or unnervingly suspenseful. But back to the case in point. The army will be brought in to fill in the gaps where the security forces, the police, are not able to do so. Large gatherings of people will be outlawed. Obviously, sports will be outlawed. Gigs, concerts, any big gathering of people will be, Comic Cons this weekend. Christ, if this thing gets worse next few days, that'll be fucking cancelled as well. I've got more to say about Comic Con in another video, but that'll all come clear later on. So yeah, things like that, and people will be told to stay indoors with this 2-week thing, this self-isolation thing. Now, a lot of people, I'm lucky. If I have to stay off work for 2 weeks, I still get paid. But a lot of people will not get paid. So people are clamouring now, well, what happens to us? People who are self-employed, they've got a trade, they're a plumber, they're a spark, they're a roofer, they've got work lined up. Well, if they can't go and do that job, then those people who need a new roof doing immediately in the storms will go somewhere else. So they've lost that money. Now, if they can't get paid, they can't pay their bills. So what happens there? Now, I know this was touched upon briefly in this Cobra meeting, but there's no real formulated plan for that as yet. And then, of course, they're saying, and you just knew this was going to happen. There'll be the knock-on effect. It's already took, points down on the FTSE index, the fucking, your Wall Street and all that. World commerce. Let's leave it at that. So stock markets are crashing, and we're going to head into another global recession. Really? After the banks fucked it all up for us last time, and we paid the price for years and years and years, and now just when austerity's over, yes, things are on the up and up, yes, you get this. Timely, isn't it? Very timely. I'm not saying someone's behind all this. I'm not. Or am I? But another rather unnerving facet of this, and again, this comes down to bringing in the army to quell civil unrest and help with the most serious of crimes taking place. What serious of crimes? Pandemic, pandemonium, as I said before. Now, when people get upset and agitated and they've got nowhere to turn, the NHS is a breaking point, which it already is. Even though they've been saying, oh, we've been preparing for this sort of thing for the last 10 years, they've said that, but we still won't be able to cope with everybody in the country falling victim to it. Obviously not. So what's going to happen then? Plague victims running around the streets, maybe not like 28 days later, ravenous homicidal maniacs, zombies, or infected like I'm playing World War Z, or if you're in America, World War Z. The fabulous score by Marco Beltrami to the rather disastrously shite movie adaptation of the Max Brooks zombie apocalyptic novel, which was great. And Brad Pitt, anyway, we know about the film. It was completely demolished by bad writing and then a complete revamp of the last section of the movie where the whole big battle in Moscow should have took place, and that was ditched for a little low-key, suspenseful moment in a hospital in North Wales, with Peter Capaldi playing a WHO doctor, World Health Organization doctor, as opposed to Doctor Who. How the world turns. But so I'm playing that because it feels a little bit apt. The point is, he says, pointing, is that when the army get brought in and civil unrest is expected, the very next thing that happens is, he knows, yeah, he's right, you should listen to him. Martial law is what happens. And I'm not making that up. I'm not saying, oh my God, martial law, we're going to be shot on the streets. I'm not saying that to demonize the politicians and staunch right-wing authoritarian movement. I'm not, because this is the next step. That's what they will do. They have to do that. But it is a very, very bad move. And when that does take place, if it takes place, then it's only a logical step. If this contagion really does go to pure absolute outbreak levels all around our country, the UK, or anywhere for that matter, then the authorities have no real option but to enforce the law on the streets, quell uprisings, quell people, keep them indoors, and the only way of doing that is by force, because that is the only option left. It is scary, I know, and it's bringing to mind your films play a huge part in all this, especially for me anyway. In the 70s, body horror supremo David Cronenberg, Canadian auteur of horror sci-fi, came out with a couple of great movies about contagion. One was Shivers, which was a sort of a sexual plague, really, bringing on violence as well, but weird with parasites and weirdness. And then you had Rabid. Now Rabid, of course, had the poor Rose, who was hurt in a motorcycle accident, undergoes revolutionary plastic surgery, which bizarrely enough results in a vampiric penis in her armpit. And then people that she infects, she's a carrier, but she infects them with an absolutely homicidal form of rabies, which sweeps through Canada. And I think it's the mayor of Montreal, or some bigwig anyway, he says, in the trailer very famously, I know it's in the film too, he said, shooting down the victims is as good a way of dealing with them as we have got. And very sadly, that is the truth. If you have people who cannot be treated and they're infecting other people at an exponential rate, the only way of quelling that is and then burning the bodies, which is what Rabid is totally about. Great scene in Rabid as well, but I've got a mate called Sedge, and Sedge is a dead ringer for this guy. It's in a cop shop, in a police station, and one of the cops has succumbed to it, and I think he's already killed someone. And this guy who looks like my mate Sedge, and he's a bit of a squat bugger, not much hair, with a big fucking bushy walrus tash. He's got a shotgun, he's holding, and the guy doesn't stop. He's got blood. He's already bitten someone, and blood's coming down his chin. So he shoots him, and it just goes with a shotgun in his shoulder. He just goes, and then keeps on coming. And you're like, oh no! And he takes a second shot, blows him away. But it's a great sequence, and it really unnerved me, especially now that I've got a mate that looks just like that. Although he looks at the guy who had the shotgun, not the rabid guy. But yeah, shooting down the victims is as good a way of dealing with them as we have got. So yeah, it's a worrying chain of events. Have any of you seen the thing about very, very famous horror writer Dean R. Koontz, who used to write under the pseudonym of Owen West? Check your library, check your bookshelves, you're bound to have some of his big, thick sci-fi horror novels, a lot of which have been adapted into films. Mostly with not much more success than, this bloody World War Z. But he wrote a book which I actually haven't got, and I forget what it's called, but it was about a plague, a man-made plague, which originates in a laboratory in Wuhan, in China. Where's coronavirus come from? Apparently it was a bat that then got onto one of them little anteater type things called, I forgot what they're called. I'd never even heard of them until this outbreak, but a bat passed it to this thing, which has somehow passed it to humans in this fish market in Wuhan. And the symptoms are flu-like, and in the book they're flu-like, but obviously it goes to pure pandemic proportions. I think, I've not read it, but and it's actually called Wuhan 9 or something like that, the plague, and this is, coronavirus or COVID-19 originates from Wuhan. Whoa! What's happening? Did Dean R. Koontz's book give the idea to some, nefarious little scientific experimenters, scientific dementors? Let's create a plague and let's see what happens. We need to cull humankind. We need to wipe out at least a third, maybe 2/3 of the human population, leaving only the elite alive. What is in America? Your FEMA camps and all that? Yeah. Funny that. Lots of footage of the trucks powering down the highways with all these rigged up porta cabins which are going to be erected in these government enclosures. What for? What was that in aid of? A plague? Perhaps. I don't know. On the plus side of this, there's always got to be a plus side, let's be honest. If this does go nowhere, which hopefully it won't, hopefully it's all going to fizzle out like SARS did. It's all going to fizzle out, or Spanish flu, or whatever the fucking hell the last thing was. It'll all fade away, and then you'll get some movies out of it, and you'll get some factual movies, some documentaries and dramas about it, and then you might get the sort of zombie version of it, like 28 Days Later, or I Am Legend, So it's a bit of a strange days we're having at the moment. Strange days when the weather's not destroying us, viruses are. It is almost like end of days. When you look back through history, there's always been plagues, there's always been wars, there's always been famines, there's always been things which have done their bit to decimate people. It's only in this modern age where we've got instant access to news and we see footage of it straight away, and we can travel the world, so easily that these things get trafficked around, and spread around the world, but also you can see what's happening in far-flung corners of the world, and it seems like it's just down the road. And with the pop sensationalist journalism, everything is catastrophic, So we have this new sort of society where we know everything, but knowing too much, basically. And then we just think that the world's coming to an end. Maybe we've always had these things, we just didn't know about them in the past. Maybe. And these things just fizzle out. Who knows? Boris Johnson doesn't fucking know. Donald Trump doesn't fucking know. Of that, you can be sure. So, folks, keep washing them pinkies. And in this light, they don't have to look pink, don't they? Super pink. I suppose I've only flesh left. Yeah. The smell of that gel. Oh, God. The dog won't come near me. It's like, Dad, what is that chemical thing, I'm eating the butty and she doesn't want, I'll chuck it a bit, I'm not touching that because it stinks of fucking hand gel. The dogs maybe have the real common sense. Maybe not that dog there, but you know. Anyway, folks, please be safe. Oh God, oh God, no. Be safe, be happy. If the worst comes to the worst, there'll always be YouTube. But no, seriously, they're saying about closing schools, closing work down for 2 months. That's going to completely screw up educations, it's going to screw up people's working practices. The country will grind to a halt, the infrastructure will just collapse on itself. Who knows, maybe a good day, maybe start afresh, I don't know. But the next few days, the next couple of weeks, are going to be very touchy, weird, and you've got to learn to look between the lines, look beyond what they're telling you on the news. You know, again, I'm not going, oh, big conspiracy, but look beyond it. Don't just watch one news channel, look at other news channels, and you'll find that the reports do differ. Somewhere in the middle of that, you might find the truth, or at least a real portion of the truth. In the meantime and in between times, don't go outside. Wear masks like this. No, they say not wearing masks. I've got fucking millions of them. How can I go wrong? Oh, I think that one's already been infected. Right, folks, take it easy, and I'm gonna see you all later. Shooting down the victims. It's as good a way of dealing with them as we have forgotten the words. Shooting down the victims. Doesn't matter. Bye.